Hello, everybody. Welcome again to another episode of Bibliophiles, the little show on AADL TV brought to you by the Ann Arbor District Library, where we talk about a variety of book topics, a different one each week, involving books, brief chat, lots of fun information. And today's topic is, what is an enjoyable movie that you've seen that was translated, that was based on a book? So Lucy, what did you bring with us today?
Well, I did actually pick something that was, the book is translated, and then it's not a film. It was a 5-part series on HBO, so kind of a movie. But it's Beartown by Fredrik Backman. So the book is translated from the Swedish. The show is in Swedish with subtitles, and I really like Fredrik Backman's books. He wrote the book A Man Called Ove, which was pretty popular and also made into a movie. And this one is about a small town in Sweden where hockey is like life, and they have a hockey team, and that is like the whole soul of the town. And the coach of the hockey team's teenage daughter gets involved in something with the star of the junior hockey team. Like, he basically, the whole town is riding on this guy because he's going to get them a new arena. He's going to, he's the star of the town. And it does include a rape, which is not giving anything away. And so then it's like, what happens? What does the town do with this information? Who do they believe? It's a very powerful story in that way. I did something interesting with this, which is I read the book at the same time that I was watching the series. I've never done that before. And it was interesting because the show is really intense, but the book had like a slower burn. I knew it was going to happen, but I love his writing because he always kind of circles around to let you know why a character did something. So he'll reveal a little bit of information in the beginning, and then there's this like big circle, and you're like, oh, that makes sense now. And I love the way he writes about parenthood and just people in general. But to sum up, it's a great book and show about sort of like the power of sports and maybe toxic masculinity, and how can culture reverse its beliefs in that regard. So that is Beartown, and I recommend reading it, and I recommend watching it. There were some different plot point, different like chronological things, but the plot points and the themes were the same. So, Christopher, what did you pick?
Well, I'm going to sneak 2 movies in because they're both based on the same piece of writing. The piece of writing is by a French author, Georges Arnaud, and I have not read that story, but I've seen both of the film adaptations. The first is a French movie called Wages of Fear, and the second is an American movie called Sorcerer. And both the movies are great. They're my kind of action movie because everything happens really, really slowly. 4 men who are down on their luck are tasked with taking nitroglycerin through a treacherous jungle and over washboard roads to deliver this to an oil rig. There's a little bit of a political message in there, but ultimately it's quite a story. I won't give away the ending, but it's wonderful. And I think Sorcerer is often overlooked because it came out in 1977 when Star Wars came out. But people may be interested in it because it also has a soundtrack by Tangerine Dream, and it's a great movie. Both the original French, I think it was 53, and Sorcerer in 77 are wonderful, and the library has both of those movies. So highly recommended. Amanda?
Well, everything you have both mentioned so far sounds super intriguing. And I went in a completely different direction. I picked something super new. The movie I chose is Concrete Cowboy. It is a new movie that premiered in April. and I saw the previews for it. It stars Idris Elba and Caleb McLaughlin, and I'm a huge Idris Elba fan. And I saw the previews. I was like, oh yeah, that sounds like a great movie. And I've watched a lot of Netflix the past year. And I was like, yes, I'm going to watch this movie. And so I started to watch it. And then I was like, wait, this looks really familiar. And it's kind of a unique story. And I'm like, is this based on a book? Did I read the book? And sure enough, after some Googling, I'm like, oh, it's based on a book. So the movie just came out this year, and the book is called Ghetto Cowboy, and it was written in 2011 by Gary Neary. And it is about the African-American horse riding culture in North Philly. So both the book and the movie are fictional, but it is based on some actual things that happen in the Fletcher Street stables and some of the other urban stables that have existed around Philly for over the past 100 years. And the basic gist of it, I guess, is in the book, the kid is younger, maybe 11 or 12. And again, I probably read the book 8 or 10 years ago, and I don't remember enough of it to compare the two. The movie was enjoyable. It's not like super amazing. I give it 3 out of 5 stars. It's a good, solid story. I wasn't bored. I followed it through. It had a really good heart. The book, in the movie, the kid is about 15, and he's in Detroit with his mother. And she has had enough of him getting in trouble in fights at school. So she drives him to Philly and drops him off on his dad's doorstep. And his dad lives in one of these urban stables. And the kid is like a fish out of water. He also barely knows his father. They are estranged. He hasn't seen him since he was very small. So there's this dynamic of father and son who are new to each other. And also the boy is a complete fish out of water. Why are there horses in the middle of the city? What is going on? So while the book and movie are both fictional, it has these real elements of things that have happened in the Black horse riding culture and the Fletcher Street stables. And there's a few of the folks who have been involved in the stables that are actually in the movie as actors. They portray a different character, but there's actually a few of them who've actually grown up this way that are in the story, which I thought was cool. For me, it was just an interesting, I feel like it's something that's not talked about a lot. So it's a fun way to like delve into like, oh, wow, that really existed. It's been going on for this long. That is amazing. And the stables are sort of a way where it's sort of a safe haven for kids, keeping them off the streets and doing bad things. It's a way for them to sort of like learn different things about taking care of animals, and they learn a lot about themselves. And that's sort of what happens with the young boy and himself, and sort of like getting away with some of that street mentality and getting more involved in like slowing things down and understanding his father and these new these really amazing people that he's meeting there. The story that's portrayed in the movie and the book, as well as like present day, is just the gentrification that's happening in Philadelphia and how these stables are just being like bulldozed over, and what's happens to that community, the people, the outreach they're doing, what happens to the horses when these like developers, and it comes through, and it's still going on today. So anyways, I thought it was a fascinating story. It was a solid movie, really great acting. I really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, Concrete Cowboy on Netflix. And then the book is Ghetto Cowboy, and the library does have the book. So that's where we are. Any final thoughts, you guys?
I just watched a preview for that last night, that movie, and I was like, I want to watch that. So
it's based on a book. Kind of cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's it for us for this week, for this episode of Bibliophiles. Thank you so much for tuning in to AADL TV. We will be back again on our next episode discussing a book that involves music. So that'll be fun. All right, we'll see you next time. Take care.